Hey guys, welcome back to another model review for Total War Attila. This time I'm looking at Settled Hunnic Empire made by Professor Oak. Now this mod may sound very straightforward, however it does a lot more than just making the Huns able to settle. The new factions, new units, the entire campaign map has changed, and that's all due to the fact that this mod changes the starting date of Attila to 420 AD. As you can see, this completely changes the campaign map. I will go over all the major changed parts of the map one by one and show you what has been changed or what has been added by the mod. So first of all, the Huns themselves. As you can see, they've now settled in Dacia and parts of Germania, occupying 4 settlements in total. The Huns are no longer an unbeatable invasion force, they now pay for their units as a regular faction. This means that the Huns won't spawn armies for free anymore and that they have to recruit and pay upkeep for units, similar to all other factions. Attila will be present as your faction leader at the start of the campaign, and he is immortal. He will never die on the battlefield, but he doesn't have any special trait or ability. The Huns also have access to a new unique building, Attila's Treasures. It's actually very straightforward. The building gives you 666 wealth from industry for free. Besides this, the Huns also got an addition to their faction traits. They're now able to recruit 3 more units each turn in all provinces, which is really good of course. These changes make it so that the Huns will still be the main enemy and the strongest faction in the campaign, however slightly less overpowered. Besides the new unique building, and the Huns are using the standard Germanic building roster though. There are more interesting things in this area of the map though. The Laziges, or however you pronounce the name, have settled and are a puppet state of the Huns, just like the Gepids and the Antians. To the right, in Sarmatia, a new playable Hunnic faction has risen, Bleda's Huns. This copy-paste Hunnic faction is ruled by Attila's brother and playable as well. The two Hunnic factions are allies, defensive allies, however they hate each other and civil war is likely to break out soon in your campaign. There will be a major conflict as the Slavenians are also allied with Bleda's Huns, so a major civil war type conflict will happen in the north most of the time. So now let's take a quick look at another part of the map, the lands of the Western Roman Empire. The migration period has now finished and most migrating tribes have settled as foederati allies of the Western Roman Empire. The Vandals have settled in Africa and are still at war with the Western Romans, while the Visigoths, Southern Burgundians and Alans are allies and settled in France. Then we also have the Ostrogoths who settled in Dalmatia and Pannonia, the Suabians in Iberia and a lot of stuff in Britain, but we will get into that later. Due to the loss of territories, the Western Roman Empire now has serious food problems at the start of the campaign, which makes them very challenging to play, even more challenging. They have more allies now, however their problems are even bigger this time around. Now over to the Eastern Roman Empire, which is no longer allied to Western Rome. You might have noticed that the Eastern Romans usually get annihilated by the Sassanids and their allies, but this mod is trying to change that. However, the Eastern Roman Empire is way smaller in this version, you might think, because of factions like Africa, Egypt and the Tanukids, Macedonia, Pontus and Asia settling in their territories. The cool thing is that these factions are all client states of the Eastern Roman Empire. This makes the Eastern Romans very similar to the Sassanids in terms of strength, and they are definitely able to take the fight to them as well. The Eastern Roman Empire is also more unique to play because of a lot of new units. These units are all either spear or sword infantry. The mod adds units like the foederati spears, Eastern comitatenses, Constantinople spearmen, Eastern cohorts and Eastern palatina. Some of these units are really cool looking and do make the Eastern Roman Empire stand out from the Western Empire. The only problem here is that the new units are not that balanced in terms of prices. Their stats aren't like extremely high or overpowered, but almost all of them are way too cheap for what you get. So they may require a little bit of balancing or fixing in a patch. So now let's take a look at Britannia, where a lot of cool things have been changed as well. In this starting year, the Jutes, Saxons and Angles have all invaded the island. These factions are all allied with each other and fight against the other factions who were already present on the island. To the north of these invaders lie the lands of Roman Britain, the nation that is now actually playable in the campaign. A lot of people would like to play with this faction and here is your chance, however do note that they use the standard Western Roman Empire unit roster. Who knows, maybe we'll see some new units for them in the future as well. They also use a random faction trait set from the Alans, which could be made more unique as well, but still, here's your chance to play with them. So overall, Britannia has been made a lot more interesting with a wider selection of cultures and factions that are all fighting for control of the island, which is a really cool mechanic. There's another new faction though that can be found in the northeast of the map. The Sarmatian Alans are basically a second playable Hellenic faction with 2 settlements in Sarmatia Asiatica, something like that. This gives you a chance to play as the Alans in 2 completely different locations. However, please note that these units, traits and other stuff, they're basically the same as the regular Alans. Besides this, I found a couple of other things like changed diplomatic relations or some additional new units for other factions here and there, but I will let you explore those yourself. As you can see, the mod completely changes the way of playing with pretty much every faction, and it almost feels like what the Imperator Augustus campaign did to Rome 2, honestly. There's still some rough edges here and there that need some fixing or could use some new additions, but overall it's already really good, so I really recommend you try it out. Link is of course as always in the description. So I hope you enjoyed today's mod overview. As always, thank you all for watching and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.